Hey guys, and welcome to another Born Unbreakable episode. We are in the elements out here. This is what we guys promised you. Yeah, we're taking this outdoors. We're taking this around the world and into the elements. We got kids playing in the background. We got cars whizzing by. I'm pretty sure we'll have a motorcycle go by really loud.
Probably.
You know, we got rodents everywhere. And
I love
hey,
it.
if you guys are watching this and not listening to it, there is a big chance that something might crawl on Des and you may see her freak out. So,
I love it. I've met Leonard the lizard, Walter the squirrel.
yeah.
It's awesome. We're in nature. It's
Definitely.
great.
So we're out here at a park because we're going to talk about your fitness journey.
Yeah.
We talked about this before, but you've been really getting intense with this.
Yeah.
You're actually doing a contest right now.
Yeah.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
So for those of you who are, can you still vote?
Yeah, you can still vote for this first round.
When's the deadline?
May 16th.
Okay, so we got some time. So I mean, for those of you that are that really like Des and support what she does in her fitness, go vote for it. What is this for now? Do you win a car? Do you win a trip to Mexico?
You don't win a car, although that would be pretty cool. If it was Oprah's fitness competition, then yes, you would win a car. No, this is for Miss Health and Fitness, hers magazine. So you would win the cover of the magazine as well as $20,000.
Have you ever been on a cover of a magazine?
No.
And $20,000?
Mm-hmm.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Now is this national?
Yeah, people from everywhere. There's 57 people in my current group.
Okay. Now
Right
is there
now.
other groups?
There are other groups. I believe it's by age, if
Okay.
I'm not mistaken. So I'm not, there's a few rounds. This is just the first round of it. I don't know if they take the top 5 or the top 10, but yeah, you get to vote. You get one free vote per day until it closes on May 16th.
All right. So if you guys have some time, vote for Coach Des.
We'll put the link in the notes
Yeah.
for the episode so you can see it there. And then if you follow social
Now, do
media, then
do they
we'll
do
put
a
it there.
story about you at all?
Yeah, I think that they do, because you're on the cover, they talk about your story.
Sweet. So now instead of waiting for the cover to come out, let's dive into it now.
Yeah.
Now here's it. I've known you for about what, 5 years, 6 years now?
A while.
Yeah.
It was 2017
Now,
when we first
for
met.
those of you who know Des, if you've never met her before, she really is small. We talk about this in some of her stuff.
Yeah.
Now, you already being small, then you lose 28 pounds.
Yeah.
I'm like, where?
Yeah,
You know what I
it's
mean?
funny. There's people that have said that, yeah.
But you weren't working on a certain section. It was just all over.
Yeah, it was overall.
You know?
It was overall.
Now you did kickboxing. You've been doing weight training.
Yeah.
You know, the whole thing, and you've made it a lifestyle. And one of the things that I kind of want to talk about today is there's a lot of people who, I mean, a wedding's coming up, a high school reunion's
Reunion.
coming up,
Yeah.
and people are just like, I gotta lose weight, you know? Vacation time comes out, you're going out there looking for swimwear, and you're like, oh my God, like, you know, I wanna lose some weight. So there seems to be this whole thing where people are waiting for this occasion. Now, how often do people really reach their goal? Now, what I want to know is based on and what you see at the gym, is it a lot of people that have these little occasions, does that jumpstart? Or is it something that's like, doesn't really kind of happen? Because I know me being an athlete in football, it was like a whole, I mean, you always had to train it all year long, every year. It wasn't just, hey, we got a game next week, let's start working out. Like, you know, it was spring training, and, you know, it was all year round.
Right.
So for people who are fit, I mean, is it the occasions that motivate people, or is it something else?
Well, I mean, here's the thing. I think it depends on if you have a near-term goal or a long-term goal. And I do think that for some people, when they like the results, let's say because their daughter or son is getting married, and they're like, I want to look good for the pictures, right? If they like what they see and they want to sustain that, then they go, okay, now I have to actually wake up every day and continue to eat differently and exercise differently. I think if that was your only objective, a lot of people do revert back to whatever they were eating before
it's like
they don't keep the regimen
The
of-
reunion's done.
Yeah.
And they go back to it. You know?
And they go back.
But now, how important? I mean, because it seems like a lot of people are doing it more for appearance, and not what's on the inside, like the health-wise.
Mm-hmm.
You know. And I know one of your stories that you recently posted. You talk about this, how there's a this obesity is a thing, especially in America.
Yeah.
You know. And a lot of people are not really kind of paying attention on the inside.
Right.
You know, just kind of worried about what they look like on the outside.
Mm-hmm.
Now, recently, I mean, you if you want to look skinny, you can go get surgery. You can take the famous drugs out there, the trendy drugs that are getting people really thin.
Mm-hmm.
But what is it really doing on the inside? Is it really helping? I mean, is it to sustain? If somebody wants to look good and stay looking good,
Yeah.
I mean, is it?
Well, and here's the thing.
You know,
when I
because-
think about health, right? It's, to me,
Because let's keep it real. Have you done any surgery?
no,
Have you taken any drugs?
no.
Right. So, but like all fitness people, they make it a lifestyle. It's a whole journey. It's a thing, and it stays pretty much like that.
Right. Well, but the thing is, it's so there's the physical is real. It is what we see. We wake up and we look in the mirror and we see our physical bodies. So that is a part of it. But there is your mental state, your emotional state, and your spiritual state. And we can't see those things, but they're there. So most of the time, when people feel their best from a physical standpoint, then naturally it's going to affect your emotion, your mood, and your mental stability, right? Because your endorphins are kicking in, and all of those happy chemicals that are getting induced every time you give your body that jolt, into the gym. So there's benefits that are exponential beyond the physical part. So you have to think bigger than just that element. You're actually working on your mental health, as well as your spiritual state, so you can achieve better peace, you can reduce anxiety, you can prevent depression, because that's another thing I think that goes overlooked. May, I think I said it in a story, is Mental Health Awareness Month.
Do you see a lot? I mean, you're at the gym. Do you see a lot of these people that come in? And I mean, how's the turnaround?
Yeah.
Like for every 10 people, how many stay and make it a lifestyle, and how many you don't see like after a week or two or a month?
Yeah. I mean, it's a good question. I
Are
mean,
you looking like 50-50? Is it
Yeah. I mean, I think in my particular community, I've tended to see more people stay. So it might be a little bit more like a 70-30 or an 80-20, but it is because of the community. I think when people go and try to achieve goals on their own, generally speaking, particularly with fitness, it's difficult because you don't have the encouragement and you don't have the accountability. In community, there's this sense of, crap, I've made a commitment, not just to myself, but I've announced it, and people around me know about it, so they're going to hold me accountable. And so I do think the community element of it plays a role.
So then let's get into that now. So
Yeah.
let's just say somebody, now most people that are trying to, get healthy, it seems to be late 30s, early 40s, where people really start going, okay, I got to take care of myself, And let's just say for that, like you have somebody in their mid 30s and they want to get into fitness, they want to make a commitment. But what are some of the key things that'll keep somebody, like before you start and say, hey, I want to go and look good and start gymming, how do you prevent yourself from being one of those people that just after a week kind of fall back,
Yeah.
So what are the couple of things that they should do before you even start, the first day you go to the gym?
The biggest thing is tracking, okay? So right now, no matter where you are in your health and fitness journey, what you eat. So what I can say is there's lots of apps out there, and the one that I use is called My Accountability Plus. And just by tracking, don't change anything yet, just track down. What do you eat? And these apps will tell you how many calories, and it tracks your macros. So your protein, your fat, and your carbs. And once you know where you are, then you know where you need to be. So if you're consuming, let's just say you started to track that for the week, a certain amount of calories, and in order to lose weight, you need to take in less calories, well, now you have a starting point.
Yeah.
So tracking is one of the biggest ways for you to
So
start.
before you even go to the gym, what are you putting into your body?
Yeah, what are you putting in?
Is the main
It's
thing.
like, yeah,
Because
it helps you
I mean,
understand.
and for me, I know, like, you know, a lot of people say, you know, half of it is dieting. You
It's
know?
80%.
Or most of it's
I would say
dieting.
it's like
You know,
80-20. Yeah.
There's a motorcycle.
Hey, we knew it was going to happen.
Sorry if you guys are listening. Hopefully you don't have a lot of bass in your system. But yeah, so it's 80% dieting, you
Yes.
know, and 20% the workout. So now you made the move to go to the gym, you know. Do people, I know a lot of people will go and feel like they need a trainer.
Trainers are great.
Is it better to do a trainer? Is it better to maybe have somebody like a friend or family member that you go with? Is it better to go? Now here's the thing: is it better to go with friends and family, or get a trainer?
If your friends or family have shared goals and can hold you accountable, that's fine. Some people are like, I'm not going to pay for a trainer. It's expensive. You know, I think you should invest in the things that are going to help you to achieve your goals. So even if it was, you could afford it for one time a week, maybe not 3 or 4 times because that's too much. Maybe it's one. And then the rest of the time you're holding yourself accountable, or you're bringing that encouraging friend or family member that's also working on their goals as well.
Now, is it better to not maybe take anybody?
If you can hold yourself accountable,
Yeah.
you know, I think the challenge though is that when we're left to our own devices, we take the easy road, you know? So it's the difference between I'm going to do 3 sets of 10 reps at 20 pounds versus a trainer is going to make you do more reps, an additional set, and and increase your weight. You know, you're probably not going to push yourself like that because you psych your mind out of, I don't know if I can do that. And somebody else that's yelling at you and honestly believes in you are going to push you to go further than where you think you're capable of.
So there's two. Okay, so there's dieting and working out.
Yeah.
Now, when it comes to dieting, a lot of people go, "Oh, I'm not gonna be able to eat anything." Like, oh,
Such a lie.
I gotta give up, like, you know, all my good meals. I think when you hear dieting, it's like it's.
I think it has a negative connotation.
Very negative,
Yeah.
especially to us Americans, where you're just like, you start thinking, well, what am I gonna eat? Because now you start hearing like, okay, everything is bad, and 90% of the grocery store has preservatives, and you're just like, well, shoot, like, do I need to grow my own crops now? People start freaking out when you hear dieting. What is a better mindset or a way to get into when it comes to dieting, or looking at it from a different angle when somebody who is beginning their fitness journey?
The quality of what you're eating. So it's quite simple. So when you think about where are you grabbing your food in the grocery store? Is it processed or is it a whole food? Like coming from the earth, you know, is it a vegetable? Is it a fruit? Is it a nut? Something that hasn't been tampered with a bunch of times? That's going to be some of your best choices. So from a protein standpoint, eggs, chicken, lean beef, lean turkey. So you can have a variety of those different kinds of meats to get your protein in. Things like nuts, avocado are healthy fats. And then your carbs, there's fruits. Those are carbs, or whole wheat. So you can have, the people that can't have gluten maybe have some different, restrictions. But there's now, I think, a lot of people that are gluten free, and there's like sections of things where you can get products that are gluten free if that's something that you're trying to manage.
So but what if you're somebody who's like, I don't like vegetables, I don't like a lot of meat or chicken, you know what I mean? Or I'm not used to, because I think when there are some people that will get very committed and very excited.
Yeah.
And they'll jump right into it. Oh, tomorrow, no more sodas, no more sweets. I'm jumping right into this. Just brown rice and chicken. I'm gonna meal prep it, you know what I mean? And they get right into it. And then it's like after a week, they're like, fuck this, man. Like, I'm hungry. Because somebody calls you like, hey girl, let's go, we're gonna go eat, some fajitas and some margaritas, and you're like,
That sounds amazing.
And then you go, it's Cinco de Mayo, I'll go,
Right.
So we've all kind of been there, So when you go back to tracking, how often are you tracking your food?
Every day.
Every day.
Every
so
meal.
breakfast, lunch, and dinner.
Breakfast, lunch, and dinner, and snacks.
Now, Does this, by keeping track of it, do you feel like that, let's say if you're doing it by yourself,
Yeah.
does it help?
Yeah.
Kind of have an app because you kind of see,
Well, okay, because for
like,
me,
am I good or am I a shitty person?
well, I have for me personally, I have a calorie goal and I have a protein goal. So I know what they are.
Yeah.
And some days I'm under, some days I'm over. And I know that. I know this choice that I'm making is going to put me at a deficit or
Yeah.
at an advantage of where I want to be. And it starts making you become a better planner and thinking about those moments where, because it's not about perfection. Unless you're in a bodybuilding competition or you have something that you're trying to get to, like you're an athlete, like you're going to compete in the Olympics or something, then yeah, maybe you have to be super regimented. But I would say for the average person, it's about just meeting it most of the time. You know, it's okay that you went to a birthday party and so you had some cake or you had an extra slice of pizza. It's not about depriving yourself. It's about having consistency the majority of the time.
So now, moving from dieting to actually working out.
Yeah.
One of the biggest things is time.
Yeah.
I have work, I got kids, I got hobbies, things are coming up. You know what I mean? It's like I got to meet with my painting group you know what I mean? Like, I really love my painting group,
I
you know?
hope that people go to their painting group.
Now, how does, I mean, because that's one of the biggest fears is, okay, well, when am I going to work out?
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's like, oh, I got to wake up another hour, 2 hours earlier,
Mm-hmm.
you know, if you're going to go in the morning.
Yeah.
Or you're like, do I
After
go
work.
after work?
Mm-hmm.
You know, and then you're like, I'm tired, you know what I mean? But then you also, and then a lot of people have kids where it's like, well, I got to take them to band practice and karate class, you know what I mean? I got to take them to the therapist, you know what I mean? Like, when am I going to have time?
Oh
you know?
my gosh,
so,
I love it.
So when you're planning on working out, do you just make a schedule? Do you kind of maybe do 3 days, you go every day?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I know you jumped right into this.
Yeah.
You work out every day? Was
Mm-hmm.
it every other day?
I work out every day.
Okay, so someone who is that something that's like a must?
No. I mean, I would say that if you're just starting out, 3 times a week is a great place to start. 3 to 4 times a week is great.
It better,
every other day.
Is it better in the morning or in the evening?
Studies show that the morning is better because it sets you off on the right foot. It gets your endorphins going and it prepares you for the day. So if you're able to, I would suggest that, but everybody has their own preference.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I mean, yeah, that right there. Now, you know, dieting, working out, there are some people that maybe want a little boost.
Mm-hmm.
You know, is it, I mean, for example, somebody who's looking at getting, they want to get this whole fitness journey, but maybe they do have an occasion coming up.
Mm-hmm.
Is it wise to do enhancements or
Well,
things to
now-
help? I mean, are there stuff that burns more fat?
Yeah,
or-
there's a couple of things I would say. Now, first of all, you know, if you do have a person that you consult for nutrition purposes or you do have a trainer, I would highly suggest you ask them, and you can experiment. You know, things like fat burners, I take supplements, things like that. So, I mean, you know, there are things like fat burners, probiotics. I mean, things that are generally helping your well-being. There's
Now, genetically though, like,
Yeah.
because I mean, is it? Do some people need more help? Like, for example, I mean,
if someone has a thyroid problem,
yeah,
for example, yeah, they probably
right
take
off the
other
bat, because somebody
other
feels
medicines.
like they just get more tired, or they need more.
And that's possible. There's different conditions people have, and that's why it might be more difficult for them to do something like lose weight. So it's always important to consult, you know, your medical physician if there are things that you face like that, for sure.
I know there are people out there that will kind of use the excuse of maybe I'm disabled or I have a condition. Now, it's funny because they have that, but how much of working out can clear up a lot of things that maybe people may have,
Yeah.
you know?
And I think it can, you know. And again, it's
Like, for example, you have somebody who's like, oh, you know, I have a bad back.
yeah.
Oh, I got a bad knee. Or, you know,
Right.
oh, I get tired, or I have asthma,
Yeah.
or, you know what I mean? Like,
I mean, it's, you know, when you're doing something like this, like fitness, it's incremental. and you know where those areas are that you might have some limitations. So if you do have a back problem or a knee problem, you're probably not going to go and do basketball where you're jumping and hurting your knee further if you have an injury or something. So be aware of those things about yourself, but don't let it limit you completely. And then, you were making the other point of like, where do I fit it in? It's interesting because people seem to be able to binge watch Netflix. And what are you doing when your kid is at band practice? How long is that practice before you have to go and pick them back up from whatever it is that you're doing?
But gas is expensive these days.
But right now we're doing this podcast interview in a park.
Yeah.
So there are a lot of things, I think money is often an excuse. I don't want to have to pay for a gym membership. I don't want to have to pay for a trainer. Okay. There's the elements just like this where you can run on a trail. You can have a small budget. Even if, let's say, it was $20 for the month and you bought a resistance band and a jump rope on Amazon. You could find both of those things for less than $20. Yeah. You can use those. So everyone can start somewhere and progress from there. Now, you can just do video workouts. Those are for free. There's apps that are paid for, but you can go on YouTube. I've looked up on YouTube, booty workouts or whatever it is, and it's not 12 minutes. 12 minutes of just working that one muscle. And you could do that in between meetings.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? There's a lot of people that work from home and you've got 30 minutes in between your last meeting and your next meeting. You can do a 15-minute workout, like right there in your office.
Do you think that, when you have couples, right? Mm-hmm. A lot of times couples will kind of get together and go, hey, honey, like we should go to the gym together. And they'll do this thing together.
Oh, yeah.
But I feel like there's a lot of couples where you'll have one person be like, I want to get my shit together. I want to look good. And the other person's like, what the hell, man? Like,
yeah, I've seen both. I've seen both.
I got to work out because you want to look good. You know what I mean?
Right.
So, I mean, like how important is it to have, your significant other, even just family, because I think
family
when
members.
you committed, there's a lot of stuff you have to say no to.
So
a lot of people want to take you out for a drink.
Willpower. It's willpower.
There's birthdays or celebrations, and like you said, your family. I mean, your mom. Let's say she cooks a really good meal. I mean, how many times does she cook like this really amazing meal and you can't eat it?
Well, and now she knows what I can and can't eat, and the big thing in my family is desserts.
Yeah.
They come home, and then I have people that visit, and they bring different kind of like my niece loves to go to Saint Henri, which is like a bougie donut place.
Do you get like a weird look when it's like, oh, I can't, I'm on a diet right now?
Well, and I don't even say I'm on a diet. They just know it's a lifestyle choice. So if they bring home donuts or ice cream or whatever it is, 90% of the time I say no.
Yeah.
And if it's like something I really, really like, ice cream is my kryptonite.
Yeah.
So if there was one thing that I had to choose for a dessert, it would be that. I could, a cupcake, a cake, a cookie, like I could forego those things. But I see ice cream and I'm like, okay, maybe. That's maybe my 10%.
So what made you want to go to this challenge? What was the thing that made you want to go and change and get into this? Because, you weren't like obese.
No, I mean,
it wasn't something that you were,
It's interesting, yeah, because people, I often get the comment, I didn't even know that there was 28 pounds to lose.
Yeah.
Like, I didn't really look at you as like an overweight person or anything. Maybe just like I was a little bit thicker. I think for me, it was, I felt the discomfort of feeling not lethargic, not having energy, getting tired a lot. So it was one, the way that I felt. Two, my clothes weren't fitting, just straight up. Yeah. I would be squeezing. And then when I looked in the mirror and I saw muffin top, that's just not something I personally wanted to rock. Yeah. That's just me. And I'm not speaking for anybody else. That's just me personally. Secondly, I have a history of poor decision making from a health standpoint. In my culture, Filipino, Hawaiian, eating is a togetherness thing, and it was just a lot of fatty foods. And my dad was one of those people that if I don't feel bad, I don't need to go to the doctor. And he never went. And he passed away at age 40 from a stroke. And the doctor said if he chose to go to the doctor and have preventative health, he would still be alive easily. You know, I believe that he could have lived at least 20 years longer if he didn't make all the poor decisions that he made with his health. But he drank, he smoked, he did it all.
So I mean,
he did it all.
For a lot of people, it's not just being like a fitness person and, you know, all ripped and all this stuff. I mean, I think just a normal person, just kind of, I like the whole thing of just having an app and just knowing what you're eating. Let's just say if you're just like, look, I don't got time, but I think if you just did that right there, I think that would be a big jump right there. You know, as you said, like the dieting is 80% of it. For somebody who's just going like, okay, let's just see what my score is at the end of the week, at the end of the month.
Right.
Am I eating shitty, you know?
Right. Well, and then, you know, and then you start
now, does this app kind of tell you that though?
Yeah,
like,
well, I mean, it tells you your habit. So when you put, let's just say French fries, okay? You put in French fries. Well, that's mostly fat and carbs. And so if you're putting that repeatedly and that's what you're consuming more and you're wondering like why you're starting to gain weight, well, now you can assess your patterns.
It's a damn McDonald's app, man, that gets you points. And
right, you know, so it's like you're never going to know where you are if you can't measure it.
Yeah.
You know, and I think people also get afraid of the scale. So you might ask somebody, and I was that person, because when I moved to Vegas and hours of the day you're just eating random times, pizza at 4 a.m., nachos at, you know, whatever random times, you're not thinking about it and you avoid the scale. Because you're like, I don't want to know what that thing says. And so by the time I decided to join a community and I got on the scale and I saw that I weighed more than I ever had in my entire, like I was sad inside. I didn't cry. I didn't cry like outwardly. I think I cried on the inside. And I just told myself, this is the heaviest that I've ever weighed in my life. Yeah. And I was like, wow, I avoided the scale for so long.
I'm pretty sure we gave that number, people would be like, oh my God.
I'm not, it was 139 pounds and I'm 4'11", okay? And
so just for you people out there listening, she's under 4'11".
4'11",
she was
139 pounds is where I was at.
According to that height, she was humongous.
Well, you know, and the thing was, it's like they you know, it would be considered more normal for that height size to be about 123.
Okay.
Okay.
Because now I know when you take measurements, like I know I took this thing one time, and it said that I was like, not obese, but like it was like, yeah, you're on the. I forgot what it was, but I was like, what? Like I'm considered fat, like.
And
you know?
on top of that, yeah, my body fat percentage was in the high 30s, and so after I lost the weight. And I lost like 16% body fat. It was about that. It was about like, that was not healthy.
Yeah.
That was bad.
So, I mean, congratulations on your whole journey, losing 28 pounds and sticking with it. Hopefully some of these tips kind of helped anybody looking into getting into fitness. Don't rush right into it. You know, there's a lot of help out there. Try get a good community, get good people around you. There's
Absolutely.
a lot of people. And if you need somebody, reach out to Coach Des, you know. And we will be doing some more fitness stuff. I know in your journey and in what you do and coaching, I mean, you just got to have it all. You got to, you know, exercise the mind, exercise the muscles, you know what I mean?
Health, wealth, and relationships, all of those categories.
It's all important. Mm-hmm. So, but if you guys have any questions, please reach out to Coach Des at des@bornunbreakable.com. or go on her Instagram, hit her up. If there's any questions out there or anything that you guys want to ask her personally on her fitness journey, definitely reach out. I know I need to get my shit together.
You've been doing better.
I feel like a troll, but yeah.
Sodas? You've been not drinking sodas?
Yeah. I'm loving the sparkling water.
Nice.
So, but thank you guys so much for listening to the Born Unbreakable podcast show. I hope the background noise wasn't too crazy.
But hopefully you've enjoyed the scenery, though.
Yeah, you know,
because it's pretty beautiful out here.
There's nature,
springtime,
and wind. So
birds chirping.
But we're definitely gonna give us feedback. You know, if you like it, if you don't like it, if it gets annoying, let us know. We want to make sure we're giving you guys some good content out there. So I'm DJ Finet.
Coach Des.
Thank you guys for listening and watching the Born Unbreakable podcast show. We'll see you guys.
See you next time.